Part 2. Being up at 4 a.m. never gets any easier. The rain continued to roll in from last night, and I scurried to get myself and bag into my car. This was going to be one hell of a drive. As I drove through the cascading drops of water, I couldn't help but be reminded of the Flumes, and how it would randomly drop water from its ceiling onto our heads on hot summer days. Fuck the Flumes and fuck Linsville. My phone rang, and it was my older brother Tommy. I answered. Hey, Mom said you were coming. I got out a couple months ago. It'll be nice to catch up, he said with a gravely voice. My brother had spent a lot of time locked up between prison and the mental hospital. Yeah, man, I said. It's been a while. Where are you, Dash? You know what we gotta do, right? He interrupted. Tommy, what are you, Dash? We gotta explore all of the Flumes. All of it. I told you what I saw that night. I'm not fucking crazy. He interrupted again. Yeah, I know. After getting off of the phone with my brother, it was a pretty boring trip up until I had to stay at a shady motel. My story takes us back to Linsville, and 1 year had passed since Grace went missing. Tommy didn't come home for 3 days looking for her, and when he did, he wouldn't stop yelling about what he had seen down in the Flumes. Tommy claimed he found children's bones down there, from skulls to full-blown skeletons. He also claimed to have seen Grace being carried away by a robed man wearing gold chains. An investigation was done at the Flumes, but they found nothing. No bones, no Grace. I spent the next year after Grace left us mostly on my own, but I'd let Mark and Sammy break through every now and then. Eventually I was feeling a lot better, mostly due to Tommy being really nice to me for the first time in my life, but was then taken to a hospital after he started to hear voices, suffering PTSD due to the events of the previous year. The house was now empty, dark and sad. I eventually found a way to go on, and not much really happened until my 16th birthday. You'd think I would have stayed away from the Flumes after everything, but if anything I hung out down there even more. It made me feel closer to Grace. Beers snapped open as all my friends and I chugged the ice-cold bittersweet nectar of champions, everyone toasting to my birthday. I sort of started going down the wrong path, slowly becoming someone I needed to be. As we all threw our cans into the dark abyss of the Flumes, flicking off the invisible monster inside as well, Mark tapped me on the shoulder to show me that Julia was there now, my crush from school. Sammy then made smoochy lips as he laughed and motioned for me to go talk to her. As I pulled a cigarette from my pack and flicked open my brother's Zippo he left me, I calmly made my way over to her, puffing on the cigarette like a small engine train rounding its way to the station. Hey, you came, I told her as I slid my arm over her shoulder, giving her a half hug. Yeah, I was in the area, she replied, showing a grin of sarcasm. As we embraced one another, Julia brought out a small gift. Merry birthday, she jokingly said as she slammed the small box into my chest. Julia was really funny, and we had been talking over the summer ever since we met. Just open it later, okay? She finished with, yeah, sure, but I was abruptly cut off by a loud gunshot. Bang. Everyone in the Flumes freaked out at this noise and began running out of the Flumes in every direction. Everyone but me, Sammy, Mark and Julia scurried like newly discovered cockroaches, but we remained for some reason. Then, peering from the outside of the Flumes entrance where we stood, a figure silhouette was seen, sun beating behind it making it even harder to see. What the hell are you guys doing? How many times do I gotta kick you goddamn kids out of here? Sheriff Don said as he slowly walked towards us, revealing him to be the Shadow. We were just leaving actually. Did you just shoot a gun? I said to the sheriff in a stern voice. Ever since Grace went missing I got a bad feeling from the guy. Sammy also told me how he would catch his uncle crying at night, and I felt he had something to do with what was going on. Yeah, don't worry about the gunshot, that's none of your business. Get the hell out of here, now before I arrest all of you. He replied. As I watched him holster his gun, I helped Julia up over the rocks and we got out of there, but not before the sheriff had more to say. They're gonna seal it up again, you do know that, right? All because you stupid fucking children can't follow directions. The mayor already approved it, alls we need now is a crew to do it. So say goodbye to this spot of yours. Sammy, go home. Oh, and happy birthday, he said as he winked at me with a small smirk, the first form of a smile I'd ever seen the man do. Sammy suggested they go hang out at the Trove now, which was a decent little cove across the other side of the lake. Not many people knew about this spot, as Sammy and Mark had found it years ago before they built up the courage to visit the Flumes. As Julia went her separate ways, the boys and I took a canoe across the lake to the Trove. Here I would open my present, which came with a note attached. It stated that Julia had feelings for me, and she wanted to explore them. She gave me a gold ring, a promise ring. She said it was her grandfather's, and upon further inspection I could make out designs like runes of some kind engraved along the ring. Sammy gave me shit for it, but Mark gave a round of applause of approval. Shaking my head, I slipped the ring onto my right index finger, which was the only finger it fit on. The rest of the night consisted of more beers and fishing, but eventually we decided to branch out to the docks, to see if people were still out partying like usual before heading home. As we paddled the canoe over to the area of our homes, we noticed suddenly that we weren't moving forward. In fact, we were going backwards. Freaking out, we decided to jump out and make a break for it to the woods. Swimming as fast as we could see the canoe slowly sink into the lake. We knew these woods like the backs of our hands, but the moment we got to the shore we did not recognize the woods in front of us. Lost, confused, and exhausted, we decided to sit for a minute to figure out what was going on. What the hell just happened? Sammy asked. We must have caught a hole in the canoe, and then a current in the lake. Yeah, Mark answered, scratching his head. A current? In this lake? When has that ever happened? I asked in disapproval of this theory. Just then a loud whirling noise echoed through the trees of the woods, a metallic scream with thunderous bass. This immediately sent us into a panic, and we ran wildly as I watched the water to my right, making sure we went the correct way. We ran and ran until we couldn't anymore. We were completely lost. We then heard a rustling coming from ahead, and to our surprise a small, dirty, emaciated boy fell out of the tree. Pee. The small boy struggled to get his words out. Pee, please don't hurt me. Relax, kid. You're okay, we won't hurt you, I said, assuring him he'd be safe. The kid was wearing nothing but underwear, so I gave him my jacket to wear around his waist. What's your name? The boy struggled again as he tightened the crossed arms of the jacket around his waist. My name is Davy. Davy Sullivan.